Howdy, just going to take a few minutes and go over the material for you. You'll notice the first thing, for some reason or other, I called you 10th graders on this guide here. This is 9th grade geography. I guess the next time I see you all, you will be 10th graders. We have covered pretty much the whole world. Remember at the beginning of the year, I suggested that you keep your passports and follow along as we travel all across the world. Well, we are down to the last couple chapters. Actually, there are 3 chapters left. We are not going to be studying chapter 24, which deals with Antarctica and the oceans and venturing into the atmosphere, the planets, and etc. But we are going to be studying your last segment here, chapters 22 and 23. Chapter 22 deals with Australia and New Zealand. Remember, Australia is the smallest continent, and the islands of New Zealand are located just off the southeast coast. We're going to be looking at this chapter in a couple different ways. You are responsible to read all of the material in your textbook and to do all the section questions that are there for you. And as you know, there's only a few questions with that. In order to help you with that, I've also included a study guide for chapter 22, a series of questions, short answer questions that you can do to help you kind of cover that material. As you go through it, read it, try to read the captions under the pictures, look at the pictures, get a feeling of this very, very strange and different continent. A lot of people anticipate and want to take vacations to Australia because it is such an interesting country to visit. So take time and learn that as you go through. So read all of the chapters, do the section questions throughout that chapter, and then do the study guide for it. I've also included for you the maps. There is a map for Australia and New Zealand. There is not a map for chapter 23. I decided it was not really an easy map to do when we look at the areas of Oceania in chapter 23. So your last map that you'll have to label and color will be the one on Australia. Make sure you do it neatly and accurately according to the instructions on the back of the map. The numbers 1, 2, and 3 on the back or what you are to label on the map. So make sure you get that done and read and study those questions. Do the study guide for chapter 22 and make sure you study the section dealing with the area known as Oceania in chapter 23. You notice there are 3 main groupings of islands: Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. Be good to know some of these are familiar if you have studied other areas of history. Some of them, the names have changed throughout the years, but read through it, make sure you understand as you do that study. Okay? Now, I've also included a final exam, and I mentioned it early in the year. The final exam, geography, is going to be a map exam. You guys have a real advantage because you have your textbook and you locate the maps. I've given you an answer key that you are to follow. Find the map, and the maps are included there with it. You have 50 questions that you have to locate and place the number that you find it on. Now choose the appropriate map. Okay, now that might be a problem for some of you. Now some of the countries may be on more than one map, but you want to find the country that is numbered. Not all the countries on all the maps are numbered, so be careful. Make sure you know what you're looking for. Now again, you have an advantage. You can look at the maps in your textbook and find them, but there's no reason why you cannot locate these countries. I really would like to see you try to do it on your own without looking at the maps in the textbook. If we had been in school and finished the course properly, we would have done some reviewing of the maps, and then you would have been given this exam without the use of the textbook. So just for your own information, see how many of these areas you can locate, but of course, go back and check and make sure you're correct because it will be graded. And I want you to get a good grade for what you do. So in this last segment of geography, we're going to be finishing the text with the exception of chapter 24. You're going to read and do the section questions in chapters 22 and 23. Complete the map for Chapter 22 on Australia. Complete the study guide for Chapter 22, and then make sure that you study and review this material and do well on the final exam. Hope you've learned a lot. I hope you've developed an interest in other countries and other cultures, and who knows how the Lord might use this in your life.